business on Shay Street. Residential circus antics are how I describe what I hear. The group home in South Amherst, where my man Sean works, has its cast of characters where life's everything but clear. 6 or 7 years ago, it started when Sean first worked at the home, and Arthur was his first client. Then Arthur passed away from scrotum cancer, but shortly after, this volatile, temperamental, retarded man was assigned to Sean for lousy pay. $8 an hour was the wage back in 2000 or so. Your life at stake, learning to restrain was the key. When this retarded Frankenstein-type client blew up, one time the lady at the front desk was so scared from the building she fled. Yo, back then, that's how Sean described the situation. She was also kind of a bitch and unequipped for that particular job. She ran out of the building after the violent tard exploded. And shortly after she was fired and now probably works for the mob. The turning point was around that time when Sean dreaded having to restrain that giant, violent client who was also very strong. He lived through those experiences and defensively handled himself very well, and learns tips from the coworkers who grew to this song. It's time to blend soul, metal and funk in the boarding house on the 2nd floor. I'm not concert, I'm aggressive and with dangerous things. Soul, metal and funk, the lifeblood that quenches our thirst. Feed it, breed it, use it well. One of the staff at the home claims that this violent client is sedate and perfectly chill with him. He's got him under control. That's what he says anyway. They watched a movie while they made some popcorn. He gave me no problem at all, and on his knee I blazed the bowl. That same staff member, this black guy, a city slicker one night, decided to take the company van to a bar and try to cop a piece. While on duty, he left the violent tard unsupervised at the home, and the chicks he banged that night stunk up the van. Their nakedness reeked of cheese. Corey, who Sean brought over to my house in July of 2000, seemed alright at first, but he is really Captain Disgust. He tries to molest whoever he can, and he fed my dog chocolate once. The furniture in his room is covered with dried body function crust. He spends about an hour every night draining himself of semen. And this African guy who works at the home, the name he gives it is Baka. Corey announces that he eats his baka, known to us as sperms, and he claims it tastes like pudding. This is what he sings when he shakes his maraca. It's time to blood soul, metal and funk in the boarding house on the 2nd floor. I love my concert, I'm aggressive and with dangerous things. Soul, metal and funk, the lifeblood that quenches our thirst. Feed it, breathe it, use it well. Is another resident who Sean's brought over to my house. He acts polite if he has to, but Sean says he's a real menace. He trashes cars and smashes people in the balls and tries to khaki whoever he can find like Corey. Too bad he don't play tennis. The other black guy, the ladies' man who works there, has a method of restraining the clients if they totally lose their shit. He's a badass, and his other job is working with youthful offenders, so he instantly pins them to a wall once they throw their fit. Now let me tell you about Shay St. He seems like the mellowest one of all, but once again Sean tells me that he's putting on an act. He jumps out of moving vehicles in heavy traffic and tries to run away, the action hero of the crew, and his brain is barely intact. Yo, one day, earlier this summer, Sean stopped by my house with the company van while working a shift, and inside the van was Jason and Corey. He asked me if I wanted to hike up Mount Orient. I said hell yeah, and on our way down the hill we sang this song before things got gory. It's time to blend soul, metal and funk in the boarding house on the second floor. I love my funk shirt, hot and aggressive, and with dangerous things. Soul, metal and funk, the lifeblood that quenches our thirst. Feed it, breathe it, use it well. Up the mountain, Corey kept relying on me for help. He's pretty fat and gross, but boy, the mountain was steep. I helped him up, but Jason, however, was whimpering, and when it started raining, he faked a seizure and danced around and took an accidental leap. Yo, I saw him fall 10 feet or so off the cliff. I sort of freaked cause he didn't land on his feet. I'll never forget his cry. Yeah, he yelled. But when he hit the ground, he did not get to her, thank God. But Sean yelled at him cause he wouldn't leave the mountain that was high. Since that incident happened in July of 2003, Sean tells me that Jason has shut himself off from the universe. He's brought Kevin to my house a couple of times while we've had these jams. And Corey's gross, so I don't want him there, but I suppose things could be worse. The very last thing I heard, as of September of 2003, is the black guy at the home left a skin flick in the VCR. Sean was the right person to find it, so of course he took it home. And the black guy, while on duty, still probably drives the company van to a bar singing soul, metal and funk in the boarding house on the second floor. I love my funk served hot and aggressive and with dangerous things. Soul, metal and funk, the lifeblood that quenches our thirst. Feed it, breathe it, use it well. Soul, metal and funk in the boarding house on the second floor. I love my funk served hot and aggressive and with dangerous things. Soul, metal and funk, the lifeblood that quenches our thirst. Feed it, breathe it, use it well. Soul, metal and funk in the boarding house on the second floor. I love my funk served hot and aggressive and with dangerous things. Soul, metal and funk, the lifeblood that quenches our thirst. Feed it, breathe it, use it well. Soul, metal and funk in the boarding house on the second floor. I love my funk served hot and aggressive and with dangerous things. Soul, metal and funk, the lifeblood that quenches our thirst. Feed it, breathe it, use it well. Soul, metal and funk in the boarding house on the second floor. I love my funk served hot and aggressive and with dangerous things. Soul, metal and funk, the life lifeblood.